And a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed. There you go. Go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. Well, we got a tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You clear land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that. After 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, everybody, and welcome on Thursday for the live stream. We're here, and we're looking forward to it, and it's good fun. And better still, we've got Annabelle Cook, who's waiting in the green room there, chewing her jelly baby, is waiting for her time to come on as a guest, talks about her amazing trip around Europe recently, and Dave over there in the little corner, at least looks bottom left-hand corner to me, standing in for Johnny. Johnny's away, so we thought we'd have someone more intelligent and hirsute than Johnny, so we got Dave. Hi, Dave. Cool. So first things first, thank you very much, Sky Demon, for sponsoring the live stream. It would be difficult to do without you. And here is this week's Sky Demon tip, another oldie but a goodie. Don't forget, this is how to declutter.
Hi, everyone.
That's not decluttering at all. That's actually Simon. He's coming up in a minute. This is decluttering.
Hi, I'm Hannah from Sky Demon, and this is today's top tip. By default, Sky Demon hides airspace higher than 4,000 feet to keep the map uncluttered. If you tend to fly at high levels, you may wish to raise this default level, which you can do in the mapping menu here in the bottom right corner. Go to Automatic Decluttering and raise the level at which airspace is hidden, and you'll see more starts to appear on the map. Or you can raise the level of your route. For more information on using Sky Demon, take a look at our user guide, which you can access from our website.
Spoiler alert, if you use the Sky Demon raise the altitude thing, it doesn't raise the altitude of all the airspace around you. So that would be good if it did, wouldn't it?
Are you sure about that? I think it's a bit like I've got an amazing Stormscape in the airplane, and you can press a button that it's called clear, and then it gets rid of all the strikes. So if ever I'm flying through a storm and I see all these strikes, I just press clear, and it's great.
All gone.
Yeah, don't take that seriously, folks. Don't.
No.
That's the same concept as switching your landing light off on a night precautionary landing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's coming towards the time of the year when we can all dream of going night flying, isn't it? And then not be able to go night flying because there's nowhere left to land because this stupid country rolls runways up and takes them away. Or you can land somewhere, but you can take off again on a Thursday night if they've got enough people to serve food to, but you can't get back to your home back, that kind of thing.
Yep. It's too early for a round.
Right, remember earlier I spoke about decluttering, and I nearly played you the decluttering video first of all, and it should have been the weather video. So here's the weather video this time correctly for this weekend. Will we be flying or not?
Hi everyone, sorry I can't be with you this evening, but I hope that you are well. Looks like we will get some flying in this weekend, although it could be a bit breezy at times. Friday not looking to be a particularly great day. Deep area low pressure centred to the northwest of Scotland. You see these fronts here moving their way eastwards. Look at the isobars, how close together they are. You don't need me to tell you that means it's going to be blooming windy, and we've got some heavy rain coming in as well. Now, having said that, it may be that across the far Eastern Midlands, East Anglia, South East England may be okay very early on. Base is about 3,000 feet, tops at about 8,000 feet, but high level, the medium level cloud rapidly coming in. So I think things deteriorating there, and eventually that heavy rain sweeping its way eastwards. Gusts of 50 to 55 knots on exposed western coast and hills, perhaps even a little bit stronger than that. Inland we could be looking at 40 to 45 knots. Heavy showers following in from the west later, but again blustery. I think for most of us, we ain't going to be braving that. Saturday looks breezy. Again, we've got quite a strong westerly flow on Saturday. Some heavy showers getting into western parts of Scotland, northwest England, northern and western parts of Wales, as well as the north and the west of Ireland. Eastern areas, I'm going to say marginal to VFR because the winds there are going to be gusting to 30 to 35 knots, means of about 20 knots. I think central and southern England are okay, but breezy. Again, speeds of about 18 knots, gust up to between about 25 and 30 knots. Now, later on Saturday, we're going to be seeing this little area of cloud and rain moving its way eastwards, probably reaching the southwest by the time we get towards the evening. And on Sunday, a lot of uncertainty on this right now, but it looks as if that area of rain will be spreading its way eastwards through Sunday across Wales, across central and southern parts of England. Generally non-VFRable, you won't be surprised to learn in that rain. Base is 1,000 feet tops at about 12,000 feet. But that could be a little bit further north, but I suspect it's further south. I'm wondering if that line is probably going to be along sort of the M4 corridor, something like that, to the Thames estuary. It's south of there that we see the worst of the conditions. To the north of it and to the west of it, though, it does look as if it's going to be flyable. Base is 4,000 feet tops, about 10,000 feet. 1 or 2 showers for northern and western parts of Scotland, but overall it looks as if it will be fair. So as I say, just keep your eye on that forecast for Sunday. It may improve. It may be much better than I've suggested there. Now, I am delighted to announce that I'm going to be holding my first evening aviation weather school. So this is going to be on the consecutive Tuesday evenings of the 1st and the 8th of November between 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. presented live by me entirely online. So if you're looking for something to do as we get in towards the dark winter nights and you've been meaning to come to weather school but didn't want to do a Saturday morning or the face-to-face schools, this is for you. You'll get a recording to watch for up to a week after each of our sessions, so you can go back and review what you may have missed. And my aim is to build your confidence in understanding weather and being able to use the forecasts yourselves when you go on trips, so that you can be confident in the forecast that you're being presented with. You can find out more information now at weatherschool.co.uk, and also that's the place to book your place. So look forward to seeing you on Tuesday the 1st and the 8th of November in the evening, 6:30 till 9:30 p.m. Okay, have a great weekend. I'll be back with you next week, but whatever you're doing, fly safely, keep the sun shining, and bye for now.
Keir Williams says that's an aircraft cleaning weekend.
Being from a softy southerner, I don't think I'll be flying at all this weekend somehow.
No. At least it should dry. If you wash the aircraft, it should dry fairly quickly in that wind.
Yeah, I was going to go for a bike ride on Saturday morning. It looks like it could be a bit breezy, so
Yes.
Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? Okay, so I realise you're all a little bit bored of hearing from me, and you will be hearing from other people shortly. But as Johnny's not here, I've stepped into his rather large shoes and trendy and hipster type shoes to talk to you about the Flyer Club and why we'd like you to join the Flyer Club. Basically, there's a whole new world out there. A couple of years ago, we went digital. We transferred subscriptions to memberships and all sorts of... Anyway, cut a long story short, we all work our socks off to bring you Flyer, to bring you live stream, to bring you all sorts of videos and events and all sorts of other things. And we'd like you to join the Flyer Club. And if you don't belong to the Flyer Club, we'd like you to join. Apart from anything else, you've got the free landing fees that you get every month. I know in October, at the moment, you've got Ruffham and Bodmin and some others that are coming soon. Plus, for the month of October, we've got a trial where you can get fuel at Slate for $1.99, including VAT a litre. Slightly complex way of getting it, but have a look and you can see how you can get that. And as of about half an hour ago, we introduced a new thing for people wanting to join up, where you can choose to pay annually, in which case, if you're a full-on club member, it's the equivalent of £1 a week, so £52 a year. Or if you prefer, you can pay monthly, so just £5 a month, and you can do £5 a month for that. Or if you want to be a reader, so if you're maybe outside the country and you can't make use of the landing fees and some of the other bits and pieces and the cheap fuel and stuff like that, you pay £3 a month. So £5 a month, £3 a month, or £52 a year if you want to pay in advance, or £30 a year if you want to pay in advance. We'd really, really appreciate it if you joined up. Go tell your friends, sign up. It would be great to have you.
I'm glad you did that bit, because there was a lot of numbers in there, and I'm almost certain that Johnny would have made some numbers up.
Johnny made some numbers up, but basically, if you can pay for a year in advance, it costs you £1 a week. And if you don't want to risk that whole year in advance because you think you might not like it, then just pay £5 a month and give it a go. I mean, £5 a month, you're going to have a landing fee in there that saves you that, or some cheap fuel, or some of the other discounts.
Almost certainly, yeah.
And we'd really appreciate it, because it would help us to carry on bringing you this. We got some big changes coming up, some interesting changes, but they all need a little bit of money to make them happen. So there you go. Right.
Have you just seen that comment from Martin Loosby?
No.
Once you look at Ed,
You can't not see them.
Now, some of you are wondering, what the hell are those? So they are spats for this.
Oh.
So that got delivered on Monday. So it's my birthday next Tuesday. So it was probably the world's best birthday present when you get a big box with one of these in. So some assembly required, and some bits have made it home just because it's safer to store stuff here.
And is that the aircraft with that amazing drone footage when it was still in the States, where it's being chased?
Yes, yeah. Vans, as part of their 50th anniversary celebrations this year, they got a brilliant drone pilot and videographer called Nikolai. I can't pronounce his or remember his surname, but he's one of these guys who flies with goggles on, so what they call FPV flying, and he's got a 120-mile-an-hour drone. So he basically chased after a whole bunch of Vans aircraft. They had a day. And they borrowed my RV3. So if you go on their website or on their Instagram page, you can find a bunch of those videos. And I have to say that the RV3 one is lovely. So
I wonder if we could maybe in the next week get in touch with them and see if we can't grab a bit of footage and run it on the show next week.
Yeah, almost certainly. I think Johnny and I were trying to get Nikolai to come on and talk about, because he does a whole bunch of stuff, and it's kind of like flying, and he has done a number of video things with people like Matt Cuthmiller and some of the kind of other YouTubers. So I think that would be fascinating. So we will try and get him on. So, but yes, yeah.
Excellent.
But good. Yeah.
Good. Well, and you're right. Ed has got horns. Right. Time to move on, otherwise we'll be here all night. So let's move on swiftly to the news. Dave, you're up first on the news, and I'll try to slickly give you the right picture, but it's go for it. Here you go.
Right. So we've got a new issue of the magazine, well, a new compilation of the magazine out. This is what we do every 4 weeks. We put all the stories that, most of the stories that have been during the past 4 weeks, we put them together as a PDF so Flyer Club members can download it and read it offline. So in the issue, cover story, we still think about cover stories, is the Junkers A50, flown by our colleagues in Germany, and it's a lovely aeroplane, it seems. Also in the issue, there's a great photo report from the LAA grassroots flying at Popham. Ed did this, and it's a really nice event, and it's all captured here. Another sort of photo report, but a bit more words, is from Nigel Hitchman on the Vintage Aerobatic World Championships, which were held in Brighton in Yorkshire. So you can read it on the website, see all the pictures, or you can download the PDF and read it offline. In first solo, Yajiri, our Dutch person who's resident in Portugal, it's a long story, caught up with Dan Sabani. So Dan from Sandown talks about his first solo. And the first thing, of course, after his first solo is he wanted to go straight back flying again. So that's it. You can download the issue if you go to the magazine page on the website, but you have to be a logged in member of the Flyer Club to do so.
Member or reader, which don't forget you can join for just £5 a month. And while you're at it and asking you favours, could you just click like and subscribe to this video as well? Do it all. That'd be great. There's some not so good news coming up, and I think that's another one of your stories, isn't it, Dave? Yes.
It's about Doncaster Airport and how Peel Group, the people who own Doncaster Airport, they bought it. You may remember they bought it in the late 90s when it was decommissioned as RAF Finley, and they opened it as an airport in 2005. Basically, have made a bit of a mess of it ever since. Anyway, they've come around to the conclusion that they want to, instead of running an airport there, which all the area wants, they want to expand the development they've got next door called Gateway East, which is a combined business and residential park, and they want to build over the airport. Now, there's a lot of controversy about this in the local area. The local mayors are completely livid, and rightly so. Even just earlier this week, the mayor of Doncaster was calling on Peel Group to change their minds, make a U-turn, although U-turns aren't particularly in favour at the moment. But anyway, we did do a follow-up on this, but because of a small technical issue on the website, we haven't been able to publish it just yet. And anyway, I got in touch with the all-party parliamentary group for general aviation to ask what they were thinking and doing about what's happening at Doncaster. And they came up with the suggestion that they should follow the example that's been played out at Teesside International Airport, where the local mayor, a chap called Ben Houchen, I think that's how you say it. Sorry, Ben. Anyway, Ben Houchen, the local mayor, he was elected on the basis of bringing what was then called Durham Tees Valley Airport into public ownership, and they've made a success of it. They've brought in some low-cost airlines. They've saved the airport. They've upped the number of passengers going through. They've got targets, and he does make the point that even if in 15 years' time or whatever they haven't made a success of it as an airport, the land will still be worth more, and it will be in public ownership. So that's a good point. Now, whether this can happen at Doncaster is difficult, because clearly Peel Group have had their eyes on the success of the development next door, Gateway East, and they've realised it's a darn sight easier to make money out of a residential and business park than it is out of an airport. So we'll have to see.
I'm kind of hoping that even though Grant Shapps is no longer in place, Anne-Marie Trevelyan, as the new Transport Secretary, still sees the UK as the best place in the world for aviation.
Yeah.
So might step in and go, oh, surely we need to preserve our airport network.
Yeah, and it's all part of it also. You mustn't forget there's a very big emphasis on the levelling up. And Peel Group have already closed Sheffield Airport. Yeah, it wasn't such a useful place, but it closed that. And now the whole area is going to be without a local airport. It's just, it's a travesty, a tragedy.
Yes.
What we need is someone. It's one of the things we should love to do, but unfortunately, we can't do everything we'd love to do. We just don't have the time, resource, or money to do it. But it'd be great to do a survey of all of the UK airports to see how many of them are currently owned by effectively property companies who effectively really see them as a land bank. They might not do anything with it now, but at some point in the future, it'd be interesting to see how many of them belong to land banks. And we need a rule change that basically says don't mess with key infrastructure, if you're going to mess with it, fine, just build another one though.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't it go back to that old green belt versus brown belt discussion in probably the mid to late 90s, where we unfortunately ended up the wrong side of the line?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, actually, that was John Prescott, wasn't it? He was the one who changed the planning rules.
Yeah.
And but they did say at the time, oh no, it won't mean airfields and airports will be built on. No, rubbish.
Yeah. But I mean, we can't. There's a whole bunch. Every law that's been made was made in the past. It doesn't mean to say it can't be changed, and we can't have different ones or new ones, does it? We have to kind of move forwards in this world.
Yeah.
So I think if we're not careful, as much as I love farm strips, if we're not careful, we're going to be left with farm strips, and which are lovely, but they're not. We need a mixture of everything, really.
We do.
Yes.
We do.
What we don't need is people, and I'm not accusing Peel of this because I don't know enough about it. What we don't need is people buying airfields, saying, "I'm going to develop this airport. It's going to be an amazing airport. Oh, I can't make enough money out of this. I better make it into industrial things, battery factories, God knows what else."
Yeah.
Just because it's a way of buying Anyway, let's not go down that road. Right, Ed, happy story, maybe.
Yes. So Zero Avia, who are the American hybrid power plant, hydrogen electric power plant developer, who are based in the UK, doing a bunch of work. They have signed a deal to supply hydrogen electric power to Textron for the Cessna Grand Caravan. Whoa, those are big tanks. I've not seen that photo until now. So it's basically they're going to supply their ZA600 hydrogen electric powertrain, which replaces the PT6 turboprop, and the prediction is that the aircraft could be flying as soon as 2024. They can use an STC, to retrofit the aircraft, and they're targeting commercial, passenger and cargo operators. They're working with Textron on this, and feel it's a natural candidate for mounting the hydrogen tanks under the wings, and meanwhile operators retain the seat capacity or the cargo space because of that high wing. The ZA600 powertrain system, they're obviously working with Textron on that, and the certification for that is predicted as early as 2025. So that's all aiming towards zero emission flights. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. And obviously this year we'll see Zero Avia hopefully fly their 19-seat Dornier 228, which is being developed at Cotswold Airport, Kemble. And apparently first flights of that are due in the next few weeks. So
wow.
And I think the whole hydrogen electric hybrid power plant thing is definitely the way to go over, well, personally, over pure battery. So,
well, there's worries about supplies of lithium, isn't there, at the moment? Because that's a crucial component in the manufacture of batteries.
Yes. Yeah.
All about energy density, isn't it? That's,
energy density. Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads us nicely into the next story, which again I think was also Kim, wasn't it? Which we got a press release saying the snappily named VX4 made its first man tethered flight. Is that right?
Yes.
That's it. There you go. And claiming that it was the first all British aircraft to do so in the last 20 years. I know Dave wanted to say something there. Did you pipe up, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes some to claim it's the first all British aircraft in the last 20 years, because there are a number of others which I'm sure Ed can rattle off. However, I don't think that that comment should detract from the fact it is a heck of an achievement, and there are hundreds of eVTOL types out in the world, some of them more credible than others. The thing about Vertical is, well, firstly, I've got to declare an interest. There's a bunch of ex-colleagues of mine who work for Vertical. They're lovely people. They are lovely people by definition because they talk to me. But they have been, yeah, I know. But they have been doing this properly, and it's really nice to see that happening. And it's nice to see the progress that they've made over the last few years to a vehicle of this type. So big up to Vertical Aerospace.
Yeah.
Big up to Vertical Aerospace.
Yeah. Chris Holliday raised a good point.
Yeah.
Normally people are very quick to post photos and videos of milestones like that, and we are because we've only been given the very nice looking press photos of test pilot Justin Payne striding out to the aeroplane or sitting in it, but nothing. It's. I hope they remembered to take it out to the hangar, because that looks like it was in the hangar. So
So talking of that claim, and you're right, we should have delegated, but
there we go. Nigel Hitchman, who is a man who knows some of the unknowable things that we don't know. I'm told the VX4 flight was done inside the hangar. Wow. Well, there's the first. Don't go, oh, it was the first brand new, new British aeroplane in 20 years, which was a bit wrong, even though you said they made the error of saying, we have been advised by aviation historians. And you go, well, someone needs to be sacked there. But clearly,
Hannah Reich, she flew an early Luftwaffe in the 1930s. Luftwaffe.
Oh yes, in a stadium, didn't she?
Stadium, yeah.
Yeah. But so this is the first flight inside a building in what 70 years, and that's definitely a big claim you can make.
It's definitely the first British aeroplane to fly in a hangar.
Yeah.
On purpose. In the last 20 years or something. I'm just looking for something that I was trying to show you of talking of first flights of a has anyone seen it? I'll try and get it for next week. A quadcopter that flew in Dubai, a manned quadcopter.
No, didn't see that.
If I can find it. But I know where it is, but I was having trouble with the video.
I know. Dave White touched on it. There have been other new British types. Now, there was the Mike Whittaker MW9 Plank.
Yep.
Flew a I think it was a couple of years ago, and Mike is still flight testing that. And there was obviously quite a diverse range here, I feel. And obviously Ivan Shaw's new design, which has flown. So so we've had some new types.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. We have had some new types. So
it is. Like Dave said, they are in the world of credible eVTOLs, and there are some that you look and shake your head and go, well, that's never going to be a thing. Vertical, I guess I'd say if they were super, people really credible at the top of the list, you've got Joby and Vertical, haven't you? So
yes, yeah.
Let me put you on the spot then, Ed, and talking of credible. How do you feel about Alice, and what's the story there?
The Alice story, yes, and weird name to match slightly weird looking aeroplane. So this is the news that the Eviation aircraft have flown their Alice, which is an all-electric 9-seat airliner. It flew on Tuesday for 8 minutes, made up to 3,500 feet. And Alice is targeted at the commuter and cargo markets, and is intended to fly 150 to 250 miles. And they say they've got orders from Cape Air and Global Crossing Airlines for 70 and 50 Alice aircraft respectively. And DHL Express are Eviation's first cargo customer, and they've ordered 12 of the aeroplanes. The weird name, Alice, is after Lewis Carroll's title character from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So, but it's a weird looking machine, and I know people say if it looks right, it'll fly right, but it is. You go, I wonder how that flies. Tiny tailplane, very long, weird looking fuselage, and in the video, which is floating around online, the takeoff roll it takes forever. The flight took place at Grant County International Airport, which is famously known as Moses Lake. It's where Boeing does a lot of test flying. And I watched the video and I looked at kind of where it started and where it lifted off. And on Google Earth, it was 1,200 meters, the takeoff roll. So and I'm guessing that's just one up at the moment. And that made me think. So I looked at some numbers. The Alice's empty weight is 7,167 kilograms.
Battery.
Yeah. So by comparison, a 9-seat Cessna 402 twin, like Cape Air, one of their future customers, currently uses, weighs in at 1,922 kilograms empty weight, and has pretty much the same useful load as the Alice at 1,179 kilos.
But that's not comparing like with like, is it? What you need to compare is the empty weight plus fuel with the empty weight, which includes batteries for the Alice.
Okay. Yes. I don't, off the top of my head, I'm not sure how much fuel goes in the Cessna 402, but it's probably not going to be 5,000 kilos.
No. And I think you can guess from the image of where the engines are on the Alice and how long the fuselage is, approximately where the batteries might be located.
Yes.
Do you remember the first version that was a tail dragging?
Yeah.
With the engine out on.
Oh yeah.
Do you think they did that, which was like so blatantly ridiculous, to make the next one look much more normal?
Yes. Well, it's almost that very first prototype. You know, sometimes you see wild concepts, and it's like it's fine. The real engineers will get to this before anyone takes our wild marketing concept, and it's almost like they turned up at work one day and the engineers went, "We made it," and they're like, "No, that was a joke."
The test pilot went, "Here's your test card. You need to go and try some asymmetric stuff with that." And he went,
yes, it would be remiss of me to say maybe he was the one who set fire to it, because it was sadly burnt out on the map. I'm sure he wasn't.
No, we should definitely avoid saying that.
But engineers don't provide funding for speculative programs for a number of reasons, not least of which is we don't get paid enough.
No, exactly. But it's nice to see. It's good to see different designs appearing, because the Bright Brothers started out with one thing, and look where we are now. So
That was a question on some quiz show the other night that was on in the background. So, what did the Wright brothers build before airplanes? Well,
Bicycles. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I knew what the answer. Yeah. Plank.
Yeah. Martin Lisby says Plank. Great name. Would I want to fly it?
I hate to say this, but it's close to 9 o'clock, and we need to get a bit of a wiggle on. So I can see Annabelle in the green room shaking her fist at us, carrying on all this. So let's just have a quick rattle through. Dave, you got some more kind of non-traditional aviation news.
Well, talking of strange-looking things, this is the PAL V. This is the flying car. It flies as an auto gyro, which the whole thing packs away for the road. They've opened a base in the UK at London Oxford Airport. You can't at the moment actually go and fly one of these there, but you can do the next best thing, which is to fly a simulator. So if you fancy that, have a look at the story online, and you can get in touch with PAL V and go and fly the simulator.
Very good.
There you go, PAL V. Quick one from me. Exeter airspace change proposal that went through earlier on in the year. In April, the CA decided to develop an access gateway assessment, was not satisfied that it was run, so say take it back, do that again, do your homework again. You didn't do it properly. And then on the 16th of September, the CA, after they'd done their homework again and resubmitted their develop and assess a gateway assessment, the CA looked at it and went, nope, still not good enough, take it away. And apparently they made some of the same mistakes they made the first time. So Exeter Airport is not making a huge amount of progress with its controlled airspace. And only cynics would say, and a couple of cynics have said to me, that, I wonder whether the value of an airport with controlled airspace is different to a value of an airport without controlled airspace. I guess I don't know. I'm sure that doesn't apply to Exeter, but it's a question worth asking, isn't it?
Yeah, build houses on that, I suppose.
Right, what else have we got? EASA transition period. There you go. That must be one for you, Ed. The snazzy graphic for you. You ready?
I've got this one. And basically, at the end of the year, the transition period that the UK CAA put in place for anyone with an EASA license issued in a state in the EU, as opposed to issued in the UK, anyone with a license from the EU needs to change it to a UK license if they want to fly G-Reg aircraft in the UK. That's it, really.
There you go. But just don't panic. If you've got a license that says EASA on the front and it was the UK CAA that issued it when we were members of EASA, you don't need to do anything, at least if it's a PPL. It's just a kind of a normal license. So you ignore the fact that it says EASA on the front, because you can still fly G-Reg with it. You just can't fly any other reg with it. Dave, have you got any words of wisdom to add on that?
I think the only thing is hold that thought, because I think it's 2025 when those of us who have got UK issued EASA licenses, as was now part of FCL licenses that say EASA on the front, do need to change them. And we're kindly being asked to pay £77 for the privilege, or at current prices, or 150 something if it's a CPL.
Yeah,
which is a lot of expensive printer ink, really, since that's all it's going to take.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind betting it'll be more expensive than £77 come 2025 as well.
Come 2023, I think it would be as well. When you look at the scheme of charges now, that changes per year.
Yes, it's $77, €77, or £13,500. Right, just a very quick one from Ed.
Yeah, very quick one from me. The CAA have announced a new airworthiness code designed to provide practical guidance on key airworthiness topics such as the airworthiness system and the Part ML maintenance program, and it's been published by them today. The airworthiness code is a new guide, and it's a bit like the Skyway code, which we think is a brilliantly easy to access document, and well designed, well thought out. And anyway, so CA have made this one for airworthiness. I'll put a link in the comments, and you can go and read that. And I think it's quite good work by the CA. Actually, it's very good work. I won't even kill it with freight and praise. I'll say that was good work. So
I had a quick read. It's got more jargon in than the Skyway code. It's slightly difficult to dig in and out, because all of a sudden it will go, oh yes, and the whatever it was, the whole bunch of acronyms, and you need to go, I need to remember what they were and to go back elsewhere. But
I guess the nice thing is this brings everything together, because I don't know about you, but quite often I go looking on the CA website for things and I find dead links or, stuff that's broken. And websites, as by our own experience, we know that websites are hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, just one more very quick thing, and that's if you're considering becoming a commercial pilot, we have a show running in Dublin on the 26th of October, and another show running in London on the 5th of November. If you're at all thinking of becoming a commercial pilot, come along, see us on that day. You can get tickets at www.pilotcareerslive.com. Great days full of seminars, airlines presenting, all sorts of ATOs to talk to. Great place to do your research. So if you're not thinking of becoming a commercial pilot, but you know someone who is, send them along. It will be a jolly good one. Right, I think it's time we get the very patient Annabelle in.
Ta-da!
I'm just going to move you up here, Annabelle.
I moved her. There we go. Look at that.
There you go. Annabelle, thank you very much for joining us. Annabelle is well known on fire forums and on Facebook and various other pages. Been around in aviation for a long, long, long time now. I think I first met you at a P Prune bash.
I think you probably did about 2 decades ago. Yeah.
Wow, 15 years ago. Yeah, absolutely. And you were at the recent Flyer Raduno in Italy, although you chose to go there via EasyJet, I think, or Ryanair. Or...
Don't think there's much choice about it. In the aircraft got stuck in maintenance, so it was Ryanair or nothing.
Ryanair or nothing. Well, it was very good to see you out there. But you recently, I believe. Well, in fact, before we get onto this, just tell us a little bit about your flying history.
Learned to fly about 20 years ago, and then typical GA experience of bought a house, couldn't afford to fly, moved to somewhere that was too far from a local airport, so lots of stopping and starting. But luckily enough, I've managed to fly some interesting aircraft. So I've flown Chipmunk, Decathlon, had a share in a thruster TST Mark 1 at one point, which is great for tail wheel. Does everything at about 40 knots and cost about £3.50 an hour to fly. So that was good fun. And then most recently, being a little bit more boring, back in the PA-28, flying out of Farnborough.
Oh, Farnborough, that's quite funky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the easiest place to fly out of, but it's something nice to have in your logbook, that's for sure. And we don't pay the landing fee.
I was going to say, I hope you don't have to pay like 500 quid a landing or something. That would be...
But it's not unusual to look more time taxiing than it is in the air.
Do they meet you with a red carpet?
They should, shouldn't they? Yeah. They don't. No.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you also, are you still involved with BWPA?
I am, yep. I'm currently the deputy chair of the BWPA.
Excellent.
And are you a member, Ian?
No.
Why not?
I'm not. Why not? I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good question.
Next time I see you, stick a membership form in front of my nose and I'll fill it in and join.
Okay, you heard it here. We've got witnesses.
Yeah.
So forgive me, but you went on a recent flight throughout Europe. I don't know, maybe I misinterpreted this, but I was kind of looking at it on Facebook and looking at some of the stunning pictures, and it kind of almost came across as would it be fair to say it was kind of like a little bit of a rite of passage flight for that kind of whole European thing?
Yeah, it was my first P1 trip outside of the UK.
Right.
So I have flown a couple of times right-hand seat, but this came out of Raduno. So what happened was about 3 years ago, I had quite major surgery, lost my medical, and I think it was in March. I was out for dinner with another flyer person who said, "Oh, is Raduno this year?" And I thought, okay, March, what am I doing? 3 months. I can do that. That seems like a good target, a good reason to get my medical back. Go and argue with the surgeon that it's time, yeah, get up and running. So I did all the planning. Did a skills test about a month ago, and then the aircraft got stuck in maintenance and we went by EasyJet. But just said, you know what, I've spent so long planning this, I'm damn well going to do it. Yeah, so I thought, as soon as the aircraft's back from maintenance, I'm going to go. And so I think I did about 5 hours P1, and then I went.
So that's kind of most people for their first European flight, and you could say sensibly, might just pop to Le Touquet or Calais or something and pop back and go, oh, dip the toe in the water, and I'm ready to kind of push those horizons. But I've got a map here of your flight.
Wow.
That's a pretty old. I mean, how looking at it now from my old eyes? What's that? UK, Belgium, Germany, Liechtenstein, France. Was that 4 or 5 countries?
Yeah, so it's 3 countries, but I think I went through the airspace of 5.
Okay.
So I think I did about 10 nautical miles across Switzerland, and I cut the corner of the Netherlands, but didn't land in them. It actually wasn't as many countries as I was planning, because the problem with going in September is the weather isn't quite as predictable. Yeah, it didn't quite end up being the trip it had meant to be. But I'm going to keep that one under my hat, because if I manage to do it, that will be an interesting story.
Well, so what kind of, how was it? What lessons did you learn? What can you pass on to people who've not been to Le Touquet even?
So now I do need to say I did take my partner with me, who flies, and he has flown at P1 in France a few times, but he was under very strict instructions. You are here just to be carrying my bags and keep me out of trouble. However, it was really useful to have a second pair of hands and a second pair of eyes, because there are a number of occasions when, despite all the planning that I'd done, I was suddenly given a frequency to talk to which I had not expected, or asked to, when I was transiting some zones, asked to go direct to somewhere and I couldn't find it. And of course you've got turbulence and you're low, and so having someone else to try and find that on the chart was really helpful. I think I would have done it on my own, but it was a lot less stressful having someone to share some of the workload. I think, yeah, probably the biggest lesson I learned was I didn't need to do half as much planning as I did. So,
was that? I mean, please don't tell me, or maybe you can tell me. It's okay. You're amongst friends. We'll only take the mickey out a little bit. Did you have like hundreds of charts spread out all over the floor, or did you use SkyDemon or something similar?
I used SkyDemon. Yeah, I did print backup copies. So there was a stack of paperwork about that thick. And did I use them? No, of course I didn't. I did look at buying paper charts and thought, that's ridiculous. It's going to cost, I think we worked out it would cost something like £300 to buy all the paper charts. And of course they'd be out of date. So printed.
Yeah. And think about the trees. Think about the trees you've saved.
Yes.
Think about the wine you could buy with 300 quid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, let's have a look at a couple of pictures. I know, unfortunately, these pictures aren't in any particular order, and maybe you could just give us a talk through about where they were. I think the first one is your house.
Oh yes. That is in the Medoc. It is one of the chateaux in the wine-producing region, and I can't actually remember which one, but apparently it's very famous. So we actually had a day off in the Medoc, and were lucky enough to be driven around on a little guided tour, and it was harvest season, so there were lots of people with the buckets on their backs going out and picking grapes. And so that was one of the chateaux that we were told to go and take a picture of that. It's famous.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because a little tip I'm gonna offer now not you don't need it, but a tip to anyone who's not been on a kind of tour of Europe like that. Give yourself a couple of down days where you don't have to go flying. You just go, not that flying's difficult, but just take a day off, enjoy the scenery, have a glass of wine if that's your thing, and just relax and enjoy the places that your little magic carpet has managed to take you to. I've been on too many trips in the past where it's been sort of fairly intensive flying every day, and then you kind of go, oh, hang on a second, you get back and you're wiped out. But anyway, there you go.
No, I agree. Actually, I did find, I think after the first day, I was exhausted because there's so much new to think about, and you're trying to understand the accents, which takes you a couple of days, and everything's different. And the airplane flies the same, but it's surprisingly tiring. I was very glad of that day, just to sit in the car and drink wine.
Good idea. Well, you were driving. Okay, I think this one's a classic geography lesson coming up next.
Ah, yes. So I think everybody studied oxbow lakes in school, but I had never seen one that was so beautifully on its way as this. So I think this was the first or second day across France, and I'd been sticking fairly closely to the planned route, and I saw this meandering river in the distance and said, do you know what? We're here to sightsee. So made a major detour, and then air traffic called up and say, you okay? I said, yeah, just having a look at your beautiful scenery. And they said, okay, carry on. And as we got closer, I saw that and made a little orbit, and he had control. I stuck the camera out of the window, and great one for the geography textbook.
Yeah.
Talking of sightseeing, there's another little one. I'm sure you'll remember exactly where this one is.
Yes. We had a lot of lessons in how to pronounce this one. Mio, I believe. Yes. So this was one of the ones that we haven't planned, actually. We had originally planned to go straight to Italy, but the detour to the Medoc was unprepared, and from there needed to cut directly east, basically towards Cannes, and Mio was on the route, so it seemed like a good opportunity to go and see it from there.
Excellent.
That was a strange place to land, actually, because it's air to air, so all the calls are in French. The place was deserted, and landed and taxied to the apron. Nobody was there apart from all these men in uniform with big guns. And I suddenly thought, oh, have I gone to the wrong place? Am I meant to be here? What do I do? But they just completely ignored us. It was the strangest thing that, they must see British registered light aircraft landing all the time, and it can't have been anything unusual because it was like we didn't exist.
They probably had camouflage on and thought that you couldn't see them.
Yeah.
It might have been that.
Yeah. Jane Gifford said, where was the oxbow?
France.
Did you stay in Mio?
Yeah, we did. Actually, it was Rob and Susan who we met at the Raduno. I believe there's an article coming on that and a video, isn't there, Ian?
Surely not.
There is.
We met Rob and Sue at the Raduno, and they invited us to drop in. Rob was unfortunately away for work, but I don't say no to Susan. Susan's very insistent, and I'm glad that she was. So,
Do they live in Mio?
Oh, sorry, you said Mio, didn't you? Not in my doc.
Yeah.
Not the same place. It's all France. No, we didn't stay in Mio. It was about 2 hours at the local service station, working out what to do next.
Cool. Nice. I thought this is a bit of a stunning picture. This is one of the reasons why we fly, I think. Where the bloody hell is that?
So that is just east of Lyon. So this is when we started heading north because the weather was kind of closing in, and I made a slight detour around Lyon airspace so that I could get to the foothills of the Swiss Alps.
Very, very, very bloody nice, that one. Okay, moving on swiftly. You're going to know where that one is.
Yeah, so that is Bonn. I actually have a client who has offices in Bonn. So this was a work trip, really.
Clearly.
Of course it was.
Yeah, so all expenses will go through the business.
Definitely. Very good. That's good. Not quite sure what's going on there.
No, this was somewhere in Germany, and it just caught my eye. Now, I guess it's flowers.
It's got to be tulips, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a bit late in the year for tulips. So I'm not actually sure, but I just thought it was really, just interesting what was going on. And if you look kind of in the top left, there's some sort of deep well potentially for irrigation going on. But, I would be quite interested to find out a bit more about it. There could be greenhouses in the middle, but
if you knew, leave something in the comments and tell Annabelle. And how about this? This wasn't the Alice, was it?
No, this was a delightful spoil heap. I mean, you can see for scale the buildings at the bottom of it was huge. We could see it for miles. There was another one on the other side of the track, actually. So fantastic navigational feature. But just, a bit of an eyesore. And there was a small town quite close by. And you think, oh, that must have been, Can you imagine living there and having that to look at every day?
Grow up beside you. Yeah. Well, the houses are probably cheap, aren't they? Anyway, everyone apart from Dave knows where this one is.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so this is Friedrichshafen, where I was actually in the circuit with an airship, which was a first. Brilliant place. We only had a couple of hours there. That was literally another one, so it was stop, stretch legs, replan the next leg. But a really friendly place, fantastic scenery. I'd love to go back when I've got more time.
You need to fly yourself there for Aero next year and then take a couple of days after Aero to enjoy it. You can either land there, it gets quite busy, but it's fine, or you can land over the border in Constance. And then
I've been told I have to do that next year. And having done it once, it's going to be a lot easier the next time, so I may well.
Absolutely. Okay, a little bit of weather coming up here.
Ooh,
yes. So, we were quite lucky in some ways with the weather. So our plan had been to get to Italy, but as we got to Mio and checked the low cloud coming in from the east and building up and rain, and so that's why we ended up going north into Germany instead. And unfortunately, the sort of gap in the weather just kept closing and closing, and so the last couple of days was a race really westwards. In fact, Bonn I chose because I knew, because I have a client there, I thought, if we do get stuck, at least I've got somewhere to go. And then
I'll have to pay for it all myself.
I'll put it on my monthly invoice to them. When we got to Ostend, this was actually leaving Ostend, but as I landed, this was what I was seeing kind of the last half hour. It was a real race trying to get into Ostend. So because I am a daytime VFR, I have a very vanilla license. So I was a little bit concerned that if we didn't make it, we would be quite stuck. But it was when we actually left Ostend, that was the view. And it was like the weather stopped at the FIR. So literally flew into London airspace and it was beautiful blue skies.
It's always like that.
Yeah.
Right, last picture coming up, and this one looks like this is what all flying trips should involve at some point.
Oh yeah, trip to the beach. So this is the Atlantic Ocean on our day off at the Medoc and our trip of the wine, the wineries. This was a little potter in the sand.
Very nice.
Very nice. Well, thank you very much for that. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on at such late notice. Hugely impressed with that trip, particularly if that's your first P1 trip overseas.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I know touring is not everyone's bag, and some people like strips and some people like aerobatics and stuff like that. But touring is if you find it, but this is kind of magic carpet experience where the airplane just transports you from different cultures and different languages, and all of a sudden you go, "How did that happen?" It's messing with my head. It's just
it was quite a strange experience, actually, and I lost track of what day it was and what country we were in, and it was surreal, but I'm very glad that I've done it. I'm not going to lie, it was really hard work. I spent probably 90% of the time being anxious and hearing choirs of angels.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Annabelle. I think it's probably time to go to Fantasy Hangar.
Very good. I have to apologise to Annabelle there because I leant on the mouse and it's like, oh my god, I've clicked the Fancy Hangar.
I thought that was a hint. I thought you were going, my tea is ready. We need.
No. It was one of those classic. No, inadvertent.
Okay, well, in that case, let's run through Fantasy Hangar.
Yeah. So this week, because we heard about the PAL V flying car appearing at Oxford, so that you can go along and try that. It got us thinking, if we were to add flying cars or roadable vehicles to our fancy hangars, what would they be? Who's first?
I think we should allow our guest to go first, Mr. White, who's positions. You go, Mr. White.
All right, then. Well, look, this one's a bit of a cheat, but frankly, any roadable vehicle or flying car is neither one thing nor the other. So I've gone for the AMC Matador Coupe, or Coupe because it's American, from James Bond movie, Man with the Golden Gun. The reason it's a cheat is because that's a model. The actual so-called flying car in the movie could only make 500 meters or so airborne, if that, and it wasn't airworthy. But it made a big impact on me when I was a kid watching that. A car with a jet engine and wings on it. I think it was the car with the jet engine and wings that made the impact rather than Britt Ekland. But that's my choice. It won't win, but that's my choice.
You mean it wasn't the two-tone brown and gold colour scheme?
Oh, that's lush.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that when they made that they had actually made a flying version of that for the film, and I've got a feeling it may have crashed.
It did crash. There's a couple of quite sad stories about it.
Yeah. But weirdly, someone made something quite similar, and it is if you go and Google flying cars on the Wikipedia list of flying cars, you will find a machine that took at the top half of a Cessna 337 and grafted it to I think it was an AMC Hornet, possibly. So anyway, it was equally ugly and probably nearly as not successful. So,
Dave, you're up next.
Me?
Yeah.
Right.
Dave.
Yeah. The other day. Okay. So anyway, I have chosen. It is a proper flying car, and I've chosen something called the Skyrunner, which was launched about 5 years ago in the States. And this is it. It's like a dune buggy. The dune buggy itself is. I mean, look at it. It's absolutely fantastic. You loved it. It'd be terrific. That would. And I'm laughing. It actually has two engines. I've just realised it has something called. It's got a Rotax 914 for flying in the air, for powering it along. A bit like a powered paramotor, and it's got another engine, a Polaris ProStar 1000 engine. Sounds like a motorcycle engine for powering it on the road. So this thing, it's got a terrific performance off road, and you only need a couple of hundred meters, to take off using the the parachute. I think it's brilliant. It's absolutely a solution. It drives the car.
How fast is it, Dave?
How fast is it? Right. Okay. I've got the figures here. Right. Okay. Let's give you some performance. Its cruise speed in the air is 39 knots.
Wow.
Yes.
And Do you scream along the sand dunes and then pop the chute, or do you have to lay it out behind you before you start?
I don't know. They haven't showed that bit. I looked at the video and they've conveniently ignored that bit in the video. So I guess it's probably like a parachute, when you have to launch the paramotor, you have to lay the parachute out. You can't just sort of pop it. That would be
pretty cool.
That would be good, wouldn't it? Going up a 45-degree sand dune, leaping over the top, firing off the chute, and just flying away.
Yeah.
There's a video online, probably not of this particular version, but of something very, very similar where the guy takes off. I'm not quite sure what the injuries or survival rate was, but effectively ends up flying straight into the side of a warehouse about a mile from the airfield. It's pretty great. If you look at this picture here,
it's flying without its wing.
At one point, the guy who's driving along must be thinking, wow, I am so cool doing this. And then half of his brain is going, I hope the prop doesn't strike when I land. It does look like it will, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've just noticed that the cruise speed is 39 knots and the stall speed is 27 knots.
Oh,
so
wow! That must be the. I don't think I've known an aeroplane or flying vehicle where the margin has been so small.
No, that's quite terrifying. Isn't it?
A small in some aircraft, there's a small margin between cruise and V&E.
Yes, Dave definitely doesn't have that problem.
No. Anyway, be exciting.
Yeah.
Anyway, well done, Dave.
Who's next? Is it you? Ian?
It's me next. I thought about it, roadable vehicles, and I thought fantasy hangar, and every hangar needs a sailplane. So I went for this sailplane. It's called Etta. It's got a huge wing, 30.9 meters. That's like 3 Cessna 152s worth of wing there. It's got a pretty impressive glide ratio, 70-1. So if you're 2,500 feet and there's no lift, you're going to do 29 nautical miles, more or less, before you get to the ground. It's just absolutely bloody fantastic aircraft. 2-seater, self-launching, so you don't need to make friends with a whole load of gliding people. You can just rig it, although rigging it would be a bit of a pain because it is like a huge wingspan. Jump in, fire up the engine, bugger off.
I'm guessing this whole roadable thing involves you having a car and a trailer then?
Yeah. You do need a car and a trailer for it. That's very true. But
okay, and when you get somewhere, is it very useful in terms of getting anywhere?
Yeah, because you fire up the engine, you climb to 5,000 feet and then switch it off. You could probably glide to like Iceland or something.
But what happens if you want to go down the road to the local hotel?
Well, you Uber, obviously.
Okay, right. Nick Allen is like, hang on, how is that roadable? I think we've revealed.
Nick, gliders are all roadable, aren't they? They all have those like funkily packed trailers that they hook up and then drive. They need to be roadable because half of them land out in fields most of the time. Well, this one doesn't, obviously.
But I've got to admit, I've kind of gone with similar thinking with mine because you go, all of these flying, that flying cars are either, Dave's is clearly quite reasonably practical as a flying car idea, but actually utterly useless as an aeroplane because it's so slow.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other ones, they're just not very useful or practical or work very well. So I went with an aeroplane that actually is really, really good as an aeroplane, and brilliantly, you can tow it behind your car.
Still
it's
the
Volco 209 Monson. I thought maybe you were going to show the towing picture first.
I was going to show you the brilliant aeroplane first.
Yeah. Now so the Monson is genuinely a great little aeroplane. 160 horse, 130 knot cruise, 650 nautical mile range, 740 pound useful load. You can put some bikes in the back so that when you get somewhere, you've still got some transportation. So you've solved the whole, I've landed somewhere and I'm now stuck. And you don't need an Uber like Ian. But look at this. So this was designed so that you could fold the wings and the wings stay attached, and there's somewhere for them to latch into so they don't fall off while you're driving. And it's got its own attached tow hitch so that you can attach it to your car, and off you go. And cleverly, it's got retractable nose wheel, and you can tow it. So and this is just brilliant. So It's what a brilliant idea. So you can keep it at home. It's roadable, and you've actually got a useful aeroplane at the end of it. So
I think that's a good. I think there is one flaw.
Yes.
And that's roads in the UK. I mean, pretty much anywhere else you'd be fine. But I know the roads around here, you would wreck it with like in 20 miles. It would just
potentially true.
I think since the model for this was the PAL V, which is a self-contained roadable aircraft that doesn't require a trailer or another car to pull it, I don't feel so guilty about having chosen Brit Eklund now, because I'm not cheating that much.
Because you all Brit Eklund.
Two potential flaws with my plan. I feel Marcus Clark might know something about the Monson that I don't know. Good luck getting a bike in the back of the Monson. And Graham Park says not road legal without a trailer. So, and clearly none of us. Apparently, Tom says I'm with River Rock. Yet to see something better than James May's caravan airship. James May, if you're out there, there's always a slot for you on the live stream. Come and talk about the caravan airship.
Yeah.
So, Colin Elder, who I know knows a thing or two about the Monson, says you have to pump the tyres up to 45 psi to tow it on the road. So,
okay. You must be. Maybe the bike would have to be like one of those Bromptons or something to put it in the back.
Yes. There we go. Anyway, so Martin, there are no lights or number plate. I've seen there are some other photos where there's a gadget that goes on the propeller, because clearly you need to hang things on that, very, very, very kind of well balanced device that spins around on the front of the airplane. So just hang some lights things, but you can hang a light bar and a number plate on that.
I have a serious question about all these flying cars and stuff. It's like it seems to me that aviation has tried for a long, long time to come up with a flying car, and there's been numerous attempts at doing something, and none of them have really paid off to the point where they've been useful. And all of that folding wing stuff, most people who've got folding wing airplanes leave them rigged all the time anyway. What's the attraction? Why do we keep trying to do something that blatantly there is not really a way of making a good one or a decent market for one anyway? I remember Ivan Shaw, who we're going to try and get on to talk to at some point, when he was doing his Liberty XL2, I think it was, which was which was kind of like a certified version of the Europa, and then some. He kind of he's trying to design these electric pins that came out of the wings, which I think that part never actually got certified. Funnily enough, wrong bit. They get the wings. I just don't buy it. I just don't. I think most people just find it
like ground transportation from GA airfields, isn't it? And
that's it. Yes. Yeah. Colin's my saviour here. He says baggage area is 50 kilos and get a couple of small bikes in the Monson.
There you go.
There we go.
So have we got a winner, Ed?
Well, so far we have someone very, very Nick Allen, very good. Nick Allen wins the comedy award. Does the Vulcan now count as roadable after last week's excursion? Probably not. What else? So River Rock, obviously. James May's flying car airship. Paul Fraser Benison, Malt Taylor must win. Definitely. Would have been a good. Kit Fox, Graham Park. My Kit Fox on a trailer would count. Yes.
Yeah. That's with the Groppe trailer.
Malt Taylor for me.
As with the Panther, if the LAA ever
approved it. Yeah. Martin Hand went big. He says Saturn V had a trailer. That's true.
In fact, someone did put a picture of the space on the forum of the space shuttle being.
Dave wins. Which one? Hedging my bets. Ed wins. Ed wins. What else we got? If Ed gets a trailer, Ed wins. Mr. White, only one closest to an actual flying car. There we go.
I think we should give the benefit of the doubt to Mr. White and give this week's award to Mr. White. There you go. Spend your price wisely.
Thank you. I was convinced I was going to fail for very good reasons.
No. It was when we first came up with the idea. Dave C said, "Oh, how many flying cars are there?" And it is worth having a look on if Google flying cars and check out that. I know it's a Wikipedia page, but check it out. You'll find it's a problem that lots of people have tried to solve repeatedly with very little success.
Yeah. Well, it's a solution to a problem that most people can find other ways around.
Yes, it's a bit like the answer to "Where's my jetpack?"
There you go. Right, it is.
We're running over,
so we need to. Dave, quick events. Are there any? No,
yes, there's a few. We're getting to the end of the season, but Friday and Saturday, there's the King's Cup Tribute Air Race plus a party at Old Warden. Saturday, there's Pipistrel Open Day at Damon's Hall, and there's also Vintage Flying at Compton Abbas, their regular first Saturday of the month thing. Sunday, Shuttleworth Race Day Air Show at Old Warden, and Tuesday, the 4th of October, you know we're heading in towards winter because the Gasco Safety Evenings restart on Tuesday. They're at Halkney Green, otherwise known as Wolverhampton.
Is there a Robin aircraft flying at the factory in Dijon?
That's on the 6th of October, so I was saving that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, that's coming up.
Might that be like next week's live stream where we had to go? There's a fly-in that took place today.
Oh, Claire's saying the Pipistrel event is cancelled due weather.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, we're getting to that time of year.
I'm guessing it's a Pipistrel event because Claire B is a Pipistrel person.
Yeah.
It is indeed.
Sorry, the Robin flying is actually on the 8th of October. So it's
okay.
Yep.
Right, we'll talk about that next week in that case then. But if you want to go to Dijon next weekend, now's your chance.
Lovely airfield too.
Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did. Don't forget, join the Flyer Club. Just £5 a month or £3 a month, or you can pay ahead and save yourself some money. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. It'd be great. Thank you. And thank you, Annabelle, for sitting in the green room there. Great trip. Very inspirational. We look forward to reading all about it, along with the Raduno story, which will be with us real soon now. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye. Thank you, Sky Demon.
Thank you, Sky Demon.